I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, good morning. Consideration of agenda items. Any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Hearing none, I move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Kruger. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Polmeyer. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda. Motion by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Szymanski. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Payment of the bills.
Mr. Chair, I move the payment of the bills.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kruger. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. COVID-19 update. Good morning, Barrett.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Barry.
So as of late yesterday afternoon, October 19th, we have had a total of 570 positive cases in McLeod County since the start of the pandemic. At the last board meeting, which was October 6th, 2 weeks ago, I reported 512 positive cases. A week later, on October 13th, we were at 538 positive cases, which is very concerning. We've had an increase of 58 positive cases in the last 2 weeks. Over the past month, from September 19th to October 19th, we have had 117 positive cases. 62% of these cases did not know how they were exposed to COVID-19. So that is considered community spread when the cases occur with no known exposure. They were unable to trace it back to an exposure incident. Of the positive cases we've had, 49.5% have been male, 50.5% have been female. We are still at 3 COVID-19 related deaths since the start of the pandemic. We have had 37 residents hospitalized due to COVID-19 and 1 person currently hospitalized. 91% or 513 of those who have tested positive are out of isolation. Our cumulative rate of testing per 10,000 is 3,280 for the county and 4,300 for the state. Our cumulative positive test rates are 4.5% for the county and 5.2% for the state. Race of those testing positive, 55% are non-Hispanic or white, 37% are Hispanic or Latinx, less than 1% for both Black and American Indian, and the remainder, which is about 6%, are not reporting a race. The location of our positive COVID-19 tests within the county, 41% called Glencoe their home, 32% Hutchinson, 2% Lester Prairie, and less than 1% for the rest of our remaining cities of Winstead, Silver Lake, Stewart, Plato, and Brownton. And the remainder, which is about 20%, are not reporting a location. Our case investigation, case tracing team continues to call people who are positive. They continue to work with our schools and our businesses. We have had some businesses clusters where we've had some 3 or more active cases within a business that our team continues to work with. We don't have any schools with any active cases, which is good. They're doing a nice job of reaching out and getting advice, and we are supporting them. And we currently have 2 long-term care facilities with exposure within the last 28 days. And I think that might be it. Any questions for me?
What was the current number of cases?
The current number is 570.
Thank you.
So over the last 2 weeks, I want to point out that we've had 58 cases. I mean, that is a large increase compiled with that 62% don't know where they were exposed is concerning. So we're keeping our eye on that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
do you keep a track of the people that recover? I mean, just so it doesn't sound so doom and gloom, I mean, I happen to know some that have had COVID and they come back to you. Keep some kind of a record of people that have had it and are back in the workforce, and not, just to keep away from the panic part of everything, but.
Sure. So I don't think that we necessarily follow up with them once they have recovered, but we can safely say that the people who are not hospitalized or who are out of the hospital have fully recovered, and hopefully have returned to the workforce.
Okay. I mean, actually, that's what happened. Obviously, that's what happens, but it's just kind of nice to reassure that.
Sure.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Barrett, of those that are positive cases, and this is probably a question that you can't answer, and I don't know if anybody in the public health sector could, but there's the 2-week quarantine period. Most people go through that, and then they're deemed to be immune to future infection, or I guess, or resistant, let's put it that way. But how does that play out in relation to the number? Let's say a person was hospitalized and it takes them, 5 weeks to recover or something. There's no factors on any of that information, I would guess.
No, not really. And the 2 weeks, we say that that's when someone is still, can pass the virus on. So they might be, not have any symptoms or still show symptoms, but we ask people to quarantine and isolate for 2 weeks because that's when we feel that they would be safe then to enter the community and not get anyone else sick or not be contagious. So.
Okay. Now, is your department monitoring these cases, or the case investigations? Is it done by the Department of Health, or is it done locally?
So we do the majority of it locally. Counties have gotten to choose whether or not they want to do that. We have had great success when we are able to call people who are positive with COVID-19 and say, hey, this is your local public health organization. We're in Glencoe, we're in McLeod County. If we're not able to get to the number of positive cases in a day, then the state of Minnesota does pick up where we leave off. So everyone does get contacted. We start first, and if we're not able to get everyone done in that day, then the state will call them as well.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right.
One other question I have, Barrett, do we track anything on, are we getting any repeat cases? Does that just show up as another new case, or is it?
It's a good question. I don't think we've had any repeat cases. That doesn't mean that we won't, because we have seen that across the country, that people have become reinfected. I would assume if that starts to happen in the state, that we would start tracking that number as well.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Kevin.
Here to give you a little bit of an update since last meeting. So at the last meeting, if you recall, I was here before you stating that the Homeland Security and Emergency Management at state level said that FEMA, it appears, was going to pay for everything that we submitted. On October 9th, I get an email from FEMA stating that they needed more information from us. That wasn't actually a shock, but so there's like 10 items that we needed to further clarify where that equipment went and who's using it and stuff. And then part of their email, and I want to read here and make sure I get it right, it says, this is coming from FEMA. Based upon initial review, there is a concern about the eligibility of this project, namely the increased operating expenses are not directly related to responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. So it appears at this time from FEMA that if we give them this information, there's a question if it's going to be eligible or not based on increased operating expenses. So with that, I've talked with County Administrator Sheila Murphy as well as Finance Director Colleen Roback, and we've decided to maybe cancel our FEMA application and pretty much strictly use the CARES Act funding for all of the expenses. So with the updated expenses and the error that FEMA had in their spreadsheet, it's probably about $19,500 roughly that we could actually take out of the CARES Act, and talk to them prior to this meeting, and they were in agreement with that. So I just kind of wanted to update you. This is kind of what we're kind of be pursuing with that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
This is what we expected at the beginning, and we talked about this, most of the other counties are doing this the same way because the funds were guaranteed through the CARES Act. Minnesota Management and Budget directed us to do it this way whenever possible anyhow. Kevin was still working hard at it and trying to see if there were FEMA funds available, so thank you for doing that. But I am glad that we have funds to cover the expense regardless.
Yeah. Plus with auditing, FEMA audits are kind of a challenge. I know it's very time-consuming and labor-intensive to supply and meet with those demands. So obviously, with taking everything out of the CARES Act funding, it's going to be audit-wise, it's going to be a lot easier for our county staff as well.
All right. All right, very good.
Okay,
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Sheila, anything to add?
I have two things today. I usually try and keep it brief during this, but Connie Kurtzweg is here, and I just want to share that the License Center on October 12th started taking appointments for certain transactions, and I just want to share that with the public to make sure that everyone knows about it. We've done a good job of sharing that online and with a media release, but maybe you did not see that. The Glencoe License Center update for October 12th was that appointments are needed for certain transactions. The Glencoe License Center is taking phone calls each morning for following business day appointments. So if you need an appointment, please call 320-864-1310 after 8 o'clock a.m. to schedule an appointment if you need the following services: driver's license renewals, motor vehicle transactions, DNR, birth, death, and marriage certificates. Tab renewals are encouraged by mail or drop box located in front of our McLeod County North Complex building. And that's just important to note because with social distancing, we live in Minnesota, winter is here. It's very difficult to keep managing transactions the way that they have been. This is a segue into our QLIS system, which will help people manage their appointments online and in person, and we'll have more information about that as it comes up. McLeod County is still accepting applications for the CARES Act Grant Fund for businesses, nonprofits, and community partners. Applications for township or city funds are due on October 30th, 2020. Those are just for the township and city funds that we are managing. If a township or city is managing their funds on their own, you would need to contact them. The list is on our website. Otherwise, you can call me at 320-864-1320, and I will go over that list with you if you do not have internet access. For those grant applications for county funds, those are due on November 20th, 2020 for our businesses, nonprofits, and our community partners. If you have any questions about that program, please visit our website at co.mcleod.mn.us. Otherwise, call me at 320-864-1320. Thank you.
Thank you. And for what it's worth, we don't get many compliments, it seems like, but the appointment thing I have, so it seems like it's going well. So, all right, thank you. All right, moving on to Public Works. John? Good morning.
Good morning. Two items for you today. Item A, we'd like you to consider adopting Resolution 20-CB-37. It's a resolution transferring $490,000 from our state aid municipal construction account to our state aid regular construction account, and that allows us to avoid a county state aid highway needs deduction. This isn't something new. We've done this resolution every so often to move money out of the municipal account into the regular account.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wright, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Polmeyer, any discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
John, moving that money, does it ever, when a project of municipal construction come up, will that money move back then to help fund that project?
We can spend regular funds on municipal projects, so it doesn't hurt us at all.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, we received the quotes for the Fairgrounds Horticulture Bathroom Project. Grand total of the quotes was $286,502, and we're proposing that funding to come out of the CARES Fund. Summary of the quotes were broken down by different trades. The general construction, the low quote was the Amory Construction out of St. Joseph, Minnesota for $120,383. The concrete was Michael Murphy Construction out of Litchfield for $40,600. Epoxy floors, Pro Maintenance out of Hutchinson, $4,860. Plumbing and HVAC was Foster Mechanical out of Hutchinson for $88,800. Electrical was DNF Electric out of Litchfield for $16,000. Doors, frames, and hardware were from Mid Central Door out of Waite Park, Minnesota, $9,325. And the specialty items such as toilet partitions, mirrors, some of those things were from Bartley Sales Company out of Minneapolis for $6,534. Again, the grand total of those quotes was $286,502. Working with Contegrity, they reviewed all the quotes and everything, and they're comfortable with those individuals that were the low quote. And given the time frame we're putting on this, as far as, a tight completion date, we feel they're worth moving forward on.
And thank you for bringing up the completion date. You have that considered?
December
and then-
1st, correct?
And Contegrity is on board to essentially run the project.
Correct.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I just want to add that this project will give us the ability to host different types of events at the fairgrounds, which is very important to us right now. Since March, we've had to cancel many events at the fairgrounds, and it's difficult to even hold a small wedding there. Obviously, you need bathroom facilities and sanitizing facilities for people to wash their hands. This bathroom project will give us the opportunity to operate in this new environment. And it will give us the opportunity to let people in the community host events that are safer. And we're really looking forward to having that available at the fairgrounds for people of our county and beyond.
I agree. And we really brought that number down from the first quotes too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, given the tight time frame, I think they're certainly good quotes.
All right, very good.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Question. John, the figure of $286,502, does that include the construction management fees for Contegrity?
No, that is just the low quote for that. So we previously approved Contegrity, had a $15,000 fee for that. We'll have some contingencies, some general conditions of maybe $10,000 to $15,000. So the whole project, assuming it comes in like we're thinking $325,000 plus or minus.
Okay. All right, thank you, John.
Okay.
If you wish to approve this, you're approving the 7 categories with the dollar amounts. You're free to do it all in one motion for a total amount of $286,502.
And I would entertain that motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Polmeyer, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Maybe could we do one quick update on the construction project?
Please.
So we had the
Please.
one overlay project left for the year. We, put that on a little later. Maintenance project on County Road 16 and County Road 5 from Highway 7 at Silver Lake up to the Wright County line, and then County Road 5 from County Road 16 over to County Road 2. That was going to kick off today, but however, given the weather today and actually this week, the contractor pulled the plug for the week. We're going to reevaluate that on Monday. And hopefully next week looks a little better, but I think the long-term forecast looks a lot better. So if anything, if we can get it done this fall, we've talked with the contractor, it'll be first thing out of the chute in the spring. So we'll just hope for some favorable weather. It just doesn't pay to put it down when it's this cold, that thin of a lift too. It's not good money spent, I don't think. So
John, before you go, how's Morningside coming?
Morningside, I understand, was going to wrap up the storm sewers and stuff this week, I believe. And then they're going to working on patching in the cross streets that were opened up for the sewer, and then pretty much wrapping it up for the year.
Okay. So it's going well, is what you're...
Yeah, I believe it's going well. Yeah, everything's on track. We've some material we hit was a little bit unstable, but we've made advances in other parts of the job where the soil wasn't as bad as we initially thought. So we're probably on budget or under budget, if anything.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
John, since we're on Morningside, I think I read a news article that there was some soil excavated from the Morningside project that was delivered to the GSL athletic field areas. Did I read that right? Or?
The contractor worked with GSL and their contractor to build a new entrance road into their of a future parking lot. That was some of the excavation from Morningside, as well as we used some of that material to build the turn lane for the job we're going to do next year on that piece of 15.
Okay.
So some of it went to that as well, so.
All right, that's good working together with the
Yeah.
local
Yeah, it
units
was
of
a good.
government.
There was a good partnership with GSL and with the contractor and us, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Central Services. Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Scott.
I've got two items I'd like to present. First, I'd like to consider awarding Foster Mechanical the job of replacing a 50-ton chiller at the McLeod County Courthouse for a cost of $104,070, including startup and 1-year on-site warranty with Trane, with funds coming from county buildings major repair budget, next year's budget. The current chiller has reached the end of its useful life and has a leak in one of the circuits in the chiller barrel, so it's not repairable. I did receive a comparable bid from Corporate Mechanical out of Crystal for $122,998. The request is being made now to lock in pricing on the main unit and avoid price increase.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Commissioner Szymanski. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Ron.
Scott, is this for the air handling system within the courthouse or for the IT department specifically?
This particular unit feeds the old boardroom, so that's the only air handler that's on it, but then it also feeds all of the fan coils within the old part of the courthouse, which would be judges' chambers for courtroom 3, where administration is, finance, the attorney's office.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Scott.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Scott, on this, is this project going to get done this fall, or are we looking into next year? Just
It's going to be done over the winter months.
Okay.
It's I believe he said 6 to 8 week lead time on the unit, and he wanted to get it ordered, and so they'd hold our pricing.
Okay.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
My second item is to consider awarding Sudath Relocation Systems of Minnesota out of Eden Prairie the contract for moving the McLeod County offices to the McLeod County Government Center for a cost of $23,862.50 with funds from the capital assets budget 25807. Offices will relocate from 1805 Ford Avenue, 2397 Hennepin Avenue, 2391 Hennepin Avenue, and select offices from the courthouse. Proposals were also obtained from Bester Brothers for $35,000 and all furniture for $41,123.80. This does not include relocation of any of the large technology items from the main data center, which we will address once we've selected our moving company.
Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Kruger. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, there's always got to be a question. Does this include the contents of the furniture, file cabinets, all the files? Or are they
All
gonna
the
be
contents
boxed?
is moving.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
I'm going to miss you. All your questions.
All right, that's it. Thanks, Scott.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Auditor Treasurer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Today, I'm here for two things. I guess we'll get started with one. A is to consider the approval of the Deputy Registrar Appointment Agreement and approve myself to sign the agreement as the Deputy Registrar appointee for McLeod County Deputy Registrar 084. So new Deputy Registrar appointment agreements were mailed by the Minnesota Department of Public Safety to all Deputy Registrar offices and are due to be returned by October 31st. The terms of the agreement are the same for all Deputy Registrar offices. The intent with the new agreement is to have a standard agreement for all to reflect changes in state government practices and to prepare for our upcoming November 2020 launch of the new MinDrive system. The agreement includes new themes of technology, training, customer service expectations, and policies. The Deputy Registrar appointment still operates within the guidelines of Minnesota Statute Section 168.33 and in accordance with Minnesota Rules, Chapter 7406. So there, you may remember that I came to the board back in July and had an agreement similar to this signed. There were deputy registrars who did not sign that agreement, and so the state came out with a new agreement, and this is it. It replaces that agreement. There are changes in verbiage regarding the items within the agreement, items 4, 5, 16, and 17. So item 4, the only change is an acronym. Item 5 changes our reporting of litigation and claims. And then item 16 and 17 both relate to data practices and how we report to them. I have run this by the county attorney, and it's ready for you to review.
Any questions?
And there doesn't have to be a question this time. And you don't want to get into the weeds any further than you already have, because I had to go
He knows
there.
his limit.
Yes. Sage advice from our legal counsel.
Is that a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Polmeyer, any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, you are still up, but we probably better wait.
You can start.
You sure?
You're not going to make a decision until after 9:30.
All right, motion to open the public hearing.
Move. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kruger, second by Commissioner Szymanski. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay,
Okay, good morning.
good morning.
Great day to talk about drainage with snow coming. So I will pass out these spreadsheets to you first, to the board, and there are additional copies there. First, I would like to note this hearing notice was published in the McLeod County Chronicle on September 30th, October 7th, and October 14th, which satisfies the requirement of statute for a public hearing. Sheila, thank you, is passing out the documents to you. The first document is, that I will go through, I guess, at the top is county and joint drainage account activity. So that is looking like this. Not blue, more gray and white.
Yep.
This spreadsheet details out the beginning balance of the year, the tax settlements paid to date, the ag BMP loans, which we haven't had any yet this year, the other revenue, which is mostly ditch interest. The weed and tree spraying, I would like to comment that we are now funding that for the drainage systems through the riparian aid account. It's typically $50,000 or so a year. At some point, it will touch all county and joint systems, so we decided to start using that money as we are to use it for buffers. So that means that each drainage system will not be paying for these services any longer as long as there are funds in the riparian aid account. Okay, so then inspector services and expenses would be Adam, our drainage inspector's time. And then the other expenses are like the construction expenses for the year so far. And then the loan repayment relates to their loan to the general fund. So the other expenses column, I have also added about $97,000 of expenses that are to be taken place by the end of the year that Adam has projects going on. And then also in that same other expenses, the repair activity has been reviewed with the drainage inspector and actually both Adam and Ryan, the SWCD district manager, for next year for the upcoming projects. So that's this spreadsheet. The second spreadsheet details out for you the assessment history of all of the systems. So one-year assessments are in blue, and then multi-years are in green. And then I decided to add another little bit this year to be very transparent. The expenses of the old benefit listings are complete. You will notice that over at the far right column. So then those rows will be hidden going forward. Those would be for systems that are redetermined. I have 4 noted on here that we still will have assessments forthcoming for those for redetermination. I am still working with Joe Jacobs to finalize those by the end of the year. And other than that, that would be the explanation of this. The only other thing on here also then to mention, the assessment pay 2021 does also include some fund balance for, it may include repair funding for upcoming 2021 projects. And I am allowed to do that by 103E.735.
Okay.
Okay, so there is, with that said, I can go through the assessments as we normally do, but prior to doing that, there is one correction to the resolution that was in the packet, and that is on JD 11 Sibley, Renville, McLeod. The old expenses I had determined actually were paid by the system. So there is not a $240 one-year assessment on that system. And I did give a new copy to Liz. But with that said, if it's okay with the board, I will provide the assessments by drainage system. Please add comments or suggestions as I go along. And then after we've completed discussion, I will take one motion.
How did you go about the process of coming up with the recommended dollar amounts?
For to pay 2021.
Yes.
So that would include, back on here, it would include anything that is short in the fund, and also, well, if it's available to be, if there's enough that I could assess. There are still 4 or 5 systems that it's going to take a few years to pay back their old expenses. But otherwise, it was myself determining what their account balance is, and then I sat down with Ryan and Adam and determined a few projects for next year, nothing outrageous, and then we set the assessment amount.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'm hesitant to ask, but I'm still a little unclear on how that spraying, what account that comes from, and how that account is replenished, or I'm a little confused there.
Sure. So the riparian aid account, we receive about $75,000 a year, I think, from the state to take care of the buffers. And we have received that for 2 years, I think. And now that there is a fund balance there, we decided to start using it, the finance director and I, to aid in the buffers. It will eventually touch each system, so we feel that it's fair for each system.
No, and I think it's a good idea, and if for some reason, there's no reason to worry that you would reach, that you'd exhaust that account, I mean, and then it will go back to the old way, or how would you do that?
Exactly, so that's why I said as long as it's available, because
Sure.
if the state stops funding it, then we'll have to go back to assessing the
Very
drainage
good.
systems.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so, yeah, we can go through it, and if there's some with no activity and that you feel you can move past, that's fine too, but unless you
Sure.
have some information, but however you
Okay.
want to do it is fine with us.
Yep, I will just read them off. So CD 03, $4,000, a one-year assessment. CD 5, $20,000, 1-year assessment. CD 08, $29,500, 1-year assessment. CD 11, $30,000, a 1-year assessment. CD 12A, $10,000, a 1-year assessment. CD 15A, $16,000, a 1-year assessment. CD 16, $75,000, a 1-year assessment. CD 18, $5,000, a 1-year assessment. CD 19A, $20,000, a 1-year assessment. CD 21, $15,000, a 1-year assessment. CD 25, $15,000, a 1-year assessment. CD 29, $6,600, a 1-year assessment. CD 33, $32,000, a 1-year assessment. CD 36, $1,700, a 1-year assessment. CD 38, $2,000, a 1-year assessment. CD 40, the old benefit listing, $11,000, a 1-year assessment. CD 40, the new redetermined benefit listing, $125,000, a 1-year assessment. CD 63, the old benefit listing, $500, a 1-year assessment. CD 63, redetermined benefit listing, a $50,000 1-year assessment. CD 64, old redetermined listing, $25,000 1-year assessment. CD 64, redetermined benefit listing, $50,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 01 Carver McLeod, $500, a 1-year assessment. JD 01 Renville McLeod Meeker, $4,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 03A Sibley Carver McLeod, $1,000, 1-year assessment. JD 04 McLeod Renville, $50,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 05 Carver McLeod, $4,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 05 Sibley McLeod, $640, a 1-year assessment. JD 08 McLeod Sibley, $658,000, $164.15. That is a 15-year assessment approved by the joint JD8 board. JD 08 McLeod Sibley, $225,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 09 McLeod, old benefit listing, $33,200, a 1-year assessment. JD 11 McLeod Wright, $5,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 11 Sibley McLeod lateral $200, a 1-year assessment. JD 11 Sibley Renville McLeod redetermined benefit listing, $14,535.14. That is a 5-year assessment that would have been approved by the joint board at their redetermination hearing. JD 13 Meeker McLeod, $2,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 14 Wright McLeod Meeker, $10,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 15 McLeod Meeker, old benefit listing, $13,000, 500, 1-year assessment. JD 15 McLeod Meeker, redetermined benefit listing, $5,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 115 McLeod, that is a new drainage system that was split off from JD 15 McLeod Meeker. This is a $2,000 assessment, so they have an account balance going forward. JD 15 McLeod Sibley, $1,000, 1-year assessment. JD 15 Wright Meeker McLeod, $1,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 17 McLeod Sibley, $5,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 18 Sibley McLeod, $20,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 19 Sibley McLeod, $15,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 24 Sibley McLeod Renville, $30,000, a 1-year assessment. JD 28 McLeod Carver, $5,000, a 1-year assessment. And the last, JD 32 Sibley McLeod, $1,000, a 1-year assessment.
Okay, Connie, any more information you want to give us before I ask for public comment?
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Anyone from the public wish to address the board concerning this matter? Come on up to the mic, please. Good morning.
If I got this right, I just walked in here, but JD4, you guys spent another $50,000 on it. I would like to see the breakdown, itemized statements of how you.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be defined here. I just can't
I just got
understand.
here.
Could you
and
state your name, please?
James Steinbach, property owner on JD4.
Right.
You all know that. And you guys spent another $50,000 on that ditch system. We were assessed $250,000 with redetermination of benefits and clean out was total $250. That's $300,000 you guys spent in a year and a half. So what the hell is going on here? I want to know. Where you spent the $50,000 on? We don't have no idea.
Ryan, can you help walk us through this? Or whomever, I guess.
I believe a majority of that is still a remaining loan from before that they're repaying. There was some additional work that was done on JD4. I know there was some cammering done and some tile work that was also done, so.
All right, thank you. Does that help answer your question? Okay.
I know back in, let me get my dates right, 2017 or one of the years when they went redetermination of benefits, there was a $20,000 deficit on JD4, 18,000, something like that. That's what I know. And I thought that was paid up last year's assessments. I'm not sure. I don't have no paperwork. I walked in here, another 50,000, so I want to know what's going on.
Well,
We need a breakdown, itemized statement of it. That's what we need.
and that's probably possible.
Yeah, it is possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That's my question.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to address the board? Any questions from the board before we move forward? How we can do it is, and Mike can correct me, if there's no particular system that you'd like to pull for individual action, we can take it all as one.
That's correct. And you also want to let Mr. Steinbach know when he can get a hold of our county auditor, and I would recommend that you give her about 10 days after the election or about a month from now so that she has time to respond to him.
Is that okay, Connie?
Yes, thank
All
you.
right.
Mr. Chair, and that, you can actually give the breakdown of everything that was spent on that system, is that correct? And what was left unpaid?
That's a yes?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve Resolution 20 CB36, the 2021 assessments on drainage systems.
Motion by Commissioner Wright, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Szymanski, any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Okay, the final piece of this hearing is to set the 2021 interest rate on multi-year assessments, and then to set the 2021 interest rate on loans from the general fund for the systems that are in deficit. To date, there are only 2 multi-year assessments. They're green in color, and those terms were previously approved at final hearings either by the county board or for county systems or the joint board for joint systems. There may be additional multi-year assessments included if the redeterminations are finalized before the year end. As I stated, I'm still working with Joe Jacobs and the viewers on CD5, CD13, CD15, and CD29. And if approved by the board at that time, then at the final hearing, then those assessments will also still go on for pay 2021. Any questions on that? Okay. Last year, this board asked me to provide the neighboring county general fund interest rates on drainage systems in deficit. So I have contacted our neighboring counties. Blue Earth is currently at 4.25%. They had before that been at 4.4%, a 5%, and a 4%. Brown County is at 4%, as is Sibley, and both of those counties have been at 4% since payable 2018. 2018. Renville County is currently at 3%.
All right. Because I don't want to screw this up, tell us what you need.
I need you to consider, please, the approval to set the 2021 drainage assessment interest for the general fund.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
and make a motion to make it 3%.
Motion by Commissioner Kruger to set the 2021 drainage assessment interest at 3%. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? And that's the same as Renville's, correct?
Correct.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else?
Well, that's all I needed to do.
All right. Motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
I know what's going on. IT.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Here to request consider approval of quote from Allstream, Plymouth, Minnesota for $10,498.76 for professional services and components necessary for changes to our phone system as it relates to the move to the Government Center with funds from the Government Center capital account budget.
Very good. I'll move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Szymanski. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Consider approval of quote from Alpha Wireless, Mankato, Minnesota for $9,080.95 for Wave Plus silent alarm system expansion for the Government Center with funds from the Government Center capital account. This will expand upon the existing Wave Plus silent alarm system currently in use at the courthouse.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Kruger,
Second.
second by Commissioner Polmeyer. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Matt, it's always bad when you have a second page. I'm just going to point that out to you, all right? All right, item C, right?
Yes, item C. Consider approval of quote from Provision Media, St. Paul, Minnesota for the state contract price of $35,353 for video production equipment and installation at the Government Center with funds from the Government Center capital account. The video production equipment will provide the ability to record, broadcast, and live stream meetings held in the new county boardroom. This system meets HCVN's requirements, and HCVN will continue to provide someone to operate the equipment during county board meetings. Additional quotes were received from Z Systems for $39,454, Tierney Brothers for $62,600, and iSpace for $68,400.
Seeing as how I know a little bit about this and I get calls that people want better videos and better stuff from our board meeting, I move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Kruger. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item D, consider approval of quote from Provision Media, St. Paul, Minnesota for state contract price of $78,576 for displays and installation for the Government Center with funds from the Government Center capital account. These displays will be used in the various conference rooms, meeting rooms, and digital signage locations throughout the building. Additional quotes were received from Tierney Brothers for $85,352 and iSpace for $136,000. Z Systems declined to quote.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Provision Media contract.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kruger. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Excuse me.
Item E, consider approval of quote from Tierney Brothers, St. Paul, Minnesota for the state contract price of $13,864.42 for digital signage components and installation for the Government Center with funds from the Government Center capital account. The digital signage components will allow us to display digital content on various displays throughout the Government Center automatically pull content from other sources such as the county website, and control the displays by switching the content displayed based on a schedule or turning the displays on and off. Additional quotes were received from Provision Media for $15,496 and iSpace for $23,358. Z Systems declined to quote.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Polmeyer, any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item F, consider approval from Tierney Brothers, St. Paul, Minnesota for $16,740.47 for Joan Room scheduling assistance with funds from the Government Center capital account. The Joan Room scheduling assistants are digital displays placed outside of meeting rooms that work with the room calendar on our email system. They allow someone that walks up to the room to see if the room is available or schedule a meeting in the room, either now or in the future. Additional quotes were received from Provision Media for $17,170.25 and iSpace for $18,781. Z Systems declined to quote.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Polmeyer, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kruger. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Can I just make a note quick, please? Matt worked very diligently throughout this project on shopping for these items. And he's been patient with Liz Danielson, Scott Grivna, and myself because we all have a lot of opinions and want to save money, but also have quality products that are going to last at the government center. And that's very important to us that we buy sustainable technology. And Matt puts up with a lot from us. And he's done many walkthroughs and spent many hours on the information. So thank you, Matt. And I just want the board to know how hard, they know how hard you work, but that you know that we really appreciate all of the work that you've done to make sure that this all connects, because I certainly could not do it without you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Ron.
Matt, thank you for bringing the glitz and glitter in for the new government center. But my question is, all this technology, on a lot of our contracts with, software services and things, we have annual maintenance and those types of things. Do any of these include, upgrades and maintenance going forward?
So the Joan assistance includes a 1-year subscription. The broadcast system included 1 year of maintenance. Don't remember if any of the rest included maintenance at this time.
Okay, but in the future, we could anticipate we'll have an annual fee of some sort.
Correct.
Tying this in. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'd echo what Sheila said, but my question would be that, do some of these different firms, do they work together? I mean, there's obviously a number of things that do they have to coordinate, or are they all stand on their own, or?
The only coordination that has to occur between vendors is between the audio-video vendor that's installing the microphone system and the display vendor, or the display vendor and the digital signage vendor, and I believe that's all been worked out and arranged.
And none of this was unexpected. You've been working on this since day one, so I just want the public to know that he's been working on this for a while, and it's not unexpected.
That's correct.
No. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Sentence to serve.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have two things for you this morning. First one is just a brief update on the county's sentence to serve program that we took over. We've been running it for about 2 months now, been averaging 4 people on a crew per day. Once a week, we'd be at the fairgrounds. We worked a lot at the county parks, cleaning trails, the Adopt a Highway, fire departments, some city parks as well. Most recently, I think last Friday, he went and packed meals for the veterans. That worked out very good. I think the STS crew was almost the only volunteers there that they had. I think they said they packed 15,000 meals that day or something like that. So it worked out great. Things are going right along. We're getting the equipment we need. No complaints, just heard a lot of compliments so far, so it's going as well as I could expect it.
It looks like you need some more equipment, huh?
Yes, and that is the second part of this, definitely.
Okay. Well, before we consider that, are there any questions regarding the update?
Glad to hear the success. It was a long time coming, and very proud of the accomplishments there.
Agreed. All right, let's go on to item B.
Yeah. So, back in March, I came before you for a purchase of a van for the STS program. Through COVID, it took some time. They tried to deliver it, didn't have seats, so we sent it back and worked with the salesman to repurchase that van. So that's what I'm here for today, to approve the purchase of a 2021 Chevrolet Express passenger van from Rangers Chevrolet in Hibbing at a state contract price of $28,118. We do have this budgeted over a few years, and it was, like I said, there was a price difference between the van with seats and van without seats, so that's why I'm back here today.
All right. Any questions?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ron.
will the original, back in March when we ordered, we were ordering a 2020 model at that time? And
Yes.
now we're getting a 2021, so.
Correct.
So okay. Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I got to give kudos to Will too, because he's been working on this for a while too, so with Corona, he had a little time, but you did a good job.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
What do we need seats for? Kidding.
Employee relations. Good morning, Hannah.
Good morning.
Morning, Hannah.
2 items this morning. A, consider increasing the hourly wage for our seasonal snowplow drivers from $18.63 an hour to $21.50. This change will allow McLeod County to be a competitive employer as compared to other local and state government snowplow driver positions in central Minnesota. By increasing the wage, McLeod County hopes to fill this important temporary role during winter 2020.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to note that that's the recommendation from the Personnel Committee as well.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to add to. We've been a part of that. We've looked at, and John, if you need to add it, that's fine, but we've looked at the quote-unquote competition, if you will, and I believe this is a step in the right direction. So I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Polmeyer. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Hannah, do these positions, are they rated in our job scale?
That's a good question.
Description.
I don't believe this is a rated position as it is a temporary position, seasonal position.
All right, and this is an on-call
Correct.
position as well? So
Yep, that's correct.
There's no regular schedule other than a snow event brings them up.
That is
to
correct.
job.
Yep, they would be employed, obviously, as on a need basis for
Okay.
snow emergencies.
All right. Does this have anything to do with the 67 shifts requirements?
Yeah, I think this would be considered a 6-7 shift position.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I hope we don't need any snowplow drivers. I hope it does help, because I see signs across the whole state, even the state, everybody's looking for drivers, so I hope it helps.
That's right. Yeah, we're definitely not alone in this challenge.
I'm just hoping that we don't need them later today,
Right. Yeah, we can cross our fingers.
because we don't have them yet. Anyway, all right.
Put in a good word for global warming.
Yeah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Item B, consider approval of the GIS Benefits, Inc. from Woodbury, Minnesota documentation. GIS will administer an online open enrollment platform for all McLeod County employees during the 2021 open enrollment period. GIS is a provider that our local insurance agent, Rich Westland, works with. And I will note there is no cost to the county for this. This is just documentation we wanted you to review and approve.
And this is a move we had to make, considering the other vendor basically is not going to do it anymore, right?
Correct.
I mean, oversimplification.
It's a better option.
Oversimplification.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Any questions?
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Commissioner Szymanski. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, on to county administration. Rich, go ahead with your calendar.
Okay, since our last board meeting, we had a workshop after the meeting. And I had a community health board meeting the next morning. Personnel committee, which we just covered, one of the items we covered in the personnel committee. Attended the safety committee meeting and just let people know that as of the last safety committee meeting about a week ago, our county is doing very well with keeping our employees and people using county buildings and county equipment safe. We had a few minor incidences, but overall a very good job. And Kevin Matthews kind of heads the safety committee for us and is doing a good job keeping everyone informed on that. Also had a Pack for Families Zoom meeting, and along with meeting a couple constituents on a couple ditches and culverts that are being taken care of in some of the new projects coming up in the next year. So that brings me up to today.
Very good, Paul.
Okay, Long Range Planning Committee met, kind of a summary discussion from the added advantage, and it continues to be a topic for this week, a meeting that has been set up. CRF meeting, or committee continues to meet to distribute the funds. Budget committees met a couple times, met with administration on personnel issues last week. Also last Tuesday, attended a pre-construction meeting on Collins Township and CD 64. That was the intersection of Unit and 85th in Collins Township to put in a new culvert through that road. I believe project is completed last week. So.
Okay. After the board workshop, I just wanted to bring up, I've talked to some of the other board members, but I haven't given an update on this in a while. I participated in some NACO, the National Association of Counties, calls regarding a public safety committee I'm on. And I've been just trying to do that a little bit more lately regarding the climate and what's going on, and trying to keep in the loop as it will seem to affect us locally, whether it's mandates or training, or which is, I guess, the same thing. But I'll probably have more updates as we go. Personnel committee meeting that we handled those items. Again, we do have some conversations to be had regarding our public works department and the maintenance workers and how we're going to move forward filling those spots. A department head meeting, mentioned the public works meeting, excuse me, and then some calls regarding the fair board, fairgrounds, some things focused on there. So, Ron?
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Since our last board meeting, we followed up with the workshop on that same day. And then on the 8th of October, Meeker McLeod Sibley Community Health Board, Joint Powers Board met at the Household Hazardous Waste Facility in Hutchinson, talked about COVID and, many of the things that our three counties are working on in public health, and things are going along really remarkably well with the CHS. On October 9th, we had the insurance reopener meeting with one of our bargaining units. That was also very congenial. We came to good results on that one. And then on yesterday, the 19th, Supporting Hands Nurse Family Partnership Finance Committee met to talk about finances for this coming year for the Supporting Hands program. That's 20 counties we're also in discussion anticipating taking Sibley County into this organization in the near future. But we are doing well financially. A lot of these are nurse home visits. With COVID, they're not doing as many in-person visits. They're doing teleconference, Zoom meetings, those types of things, which kind of reflects in the expenses of operating the system. But all in all, it's doing very well. We hope the COVID is over and we can get back to having our nurses doing in-person visits with the new mothers. Thanks. That's it.
All right. Doug?
All my meetings were Zoom for the last 2 weeks. I had 2 meetings on the 7th and the 14th with our coronavirus relief fund. We also had on the 7th a long-range planning meeting discussing the benefits of doing economic development long-range planning. On the 8th, I had a drainage work group meeting and just discussing recommendations for the legislature on changes in drainage. On Friday the 9th, I had a District 8 transportation meeting through mid-Minnesota and discussing the projects that are coming up and completed in our district. Budget meeting on the 12th, a department head on the 13th, agenda review on the 15th. That brings us up to today. Thank you.
All right, Sheila, anything to add?
No, Mr. Chair.
All right, let's take items A and B, and then we'll kind of reorganize the rest of the administration agenda.
Thank you. Item A, consider purchase of CellSense Plus contraband detection system from MetroSense out of Lisle, Illinois. Why are the hardest to read things always in my... Anything that has to do with the CARES Act Coronavirus Relief Fund purchases is under administration, but Captain Feltman is here from the jail if you have questions about this. The cost is $10,190 with funds from CARES Act. The jail is seeking approval to purchase an additional CellSense contraband detection system. The additional system would be placed in the work release entrance. Staff will be able to utilize this system in place of hands-on search to prevent contraband from entering the facility. Inmates would stand in front of the unit and complete a 360-degree turn. If the light turns red, the unit has detected metal, cell phone, or other contraband. Obviously, with COVID-19, it is preferred that there is not as much physical interaction for searches, so that is the reason for this item.
Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Pohlmeyer, any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And again, item B is the same situation. It's under our section because of it being a CARES Act, but Sheriff Langenfeld is here if you have any questions. So item B, consider payment of $6,100 to Lenco Armored Vehicles, Pittsfield, Pennsylvania, for shipping costs associated with the delivery of the armored rescue vehicle that was approved last year and using fund from the CARES Act Coronavirus Relief Fund budget. Originally, Sheriff's Office staff was planned to be sent out there to drive the vehicle back, but obviously with COVID-19, that has changed. Any staff entering Pennsylvania would need to quarantine, I believe on both ends, which is it 14 days that they would need to quarantine, which would not work very well. By having the vehicle shipped, it will avoid those issues, and they will offer online training and inspection of the vehicle, which would have been done on site. So we're asking for approval of that using the CARES Act funds as well.
It's the world we live in. I'll move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kruger, any discussion?
Hey, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
It's, well, obviously, the CARES Act funding is paying for it, but I feel it's probably a better way to ship it and get it here anyhow on wheels, so.
All right. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I noticed that the last line of the description says online training for use of the vehicle. Was this training going to take place at the production site when they picked up the vehicle, or?
Yes, they were going to do little bits of training, have them drive it around, go over the nuances of the vehicle itself, because it's nearly 20,000 pounds.
Okay.
It's going to take a little bit of getting used to. We have sent staff to a armored rescue vehicle class, and we're going to utilize them to train the rest of the staff.
Okay. I guess the other question would be, would they send one of their staff people here to do training with our staff?
I did not ask that, but I'm guessing they may run into some of the same issues with COVID and when
Sure.
they return to their home state.
Okay, all right.
But there's nothing to say if we're not comfortable with the online training, and I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. We could ask for that after that, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chair, Tim, it's online when they're gonna show our vehicle online, is that what you're saying?
Correct, that's for the inspection part, so
Oh,
they'll
okay.
live stream it, whatever, go through all the bells and whistles, make sure everybody's comfortable with it. Then we have to sign off on it, they ship it here, and then we go through final inspection, then we go live streaming with them to go through anything, questions, that kind of stuff, and then make the final approval.
This is kind of, we'll take the motion here a second. When are we talking about?
We're told it's supposed to be ready about December 2nd.
Oh, wow, okay, good.
Yep.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, item C, we're going to move to the end of the meeting, and I'll explain that more later. So we will go to item D. Sheila, please.
Thank you. Item D, consider approval of the healthcare savings plan contract language listed in Appendix B for the Law Enforcement Labor Services, LELS, Local Number 297, Sheriff's Office licensed sergeants to implement an employee-funded contribution of 2% to the McLeod County Healthcare Savings Plan. Upon approval, a contract would follow for your approval. This is at no cost to the county. This is just allowing the licensed sergeants in the LELS unit in the Sheriff's Office to dedicate some of their income to their healthcare savings plan.
All right, any questions?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Polmeyer. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item E, consider approval of health insurance addendum with Law Enforcement Labor Services, Local Number 297, Sheriff's Department Licensed Sergeants Unit, effective January 1, 2021. As you know, each year of the contract that we're currently in with our unions, we have an insurance reopener for just health insurance reopener, and we are in the swing of things. So you will expect several more of these at your next meeting, and this just is approving our county contribution towards the premium increases for 2021.
Mr. Chair, I move the approval of the health insurance addendum for LELS.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kruger. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item F, notification of Sue Schulz, McLeod County Assessor, evaluation summary in response to the assessor's evaluation held in a closed meeting on September 15, 2020. That is included in your packet. Mike, am I required to read that?
No.
Thank you.
All right.
Item G, consider approval of 2021 Association of Minnesota Counties annual membership dues in the amount of $16,711 with funds from the county commissioner's budget. Last year, we talked a little bit about when this item came up and just making sure that we're comparing it year to year so the board has a chance for discussion. The annual membership dues in 2020 were $16,485. And in 2019, $15,787. So quite less of an increase from 2020 to 2021 at less than $300. And that does consider approval.
All right. Move to approve the Association of Minnesota Counties membership.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Polmeyer. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item H, consider Budget Committee recommendation to set the sheriff's salary. I have given each of you a summary on that. Tim Langenfeld's current 2020 wage is $47.55 per hour as chief deputy in the sheriff's office, making his annual salary $98,904. He will still receive the uniform allowance of $925 annually. The Budget Committee is recommending a 3.5% adjustment in Sheriff Langenfeld's new position as sheriff, adjusted to $102,366 annual salary for the remaining payrolls of 2020, effective today, October 20, 2020.
Mr. Chair, if I may, our process here, we did look at salaries of other counties, and in a couple months, we'll be looking at for all elected positions, and we felt that wasn't probably the right place to make a major adjustment on that, so we felt that just adding an additional 3.5 pay adjustment was going to be the most fair thing to do for now until, again, we look at all positions in 2 months. So.
Very good.
And the
Chair.
county board looked at the duties and responsibilities of the office, the performance of the current sheriff in his former position, and things of that sort, as they're required to do by the statute.
Very good. So we've covered our bases.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Just being I'm on the Budget Committee, I agree with Commissioner Wright, everything he said. There's nothing more to say. We talked it over, and that's, we thought was prudent for this year.
So, motion by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kruger. Any discussion? Hearing none.
No question.
Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I would like to go back to item C, which.
Well, do you want to take item I real quick?
Okay, I thought that was the
explain
end, I'm
item C.
sorry. Item I, notification of board workshop to be held following the board meeting on November 3, 2020 at the McLeod County Courthouse Boardroom, so we will not be at the Glencoe City Center on November 3rd. And that is at 830 11th Street East, Glencoe, Minnesota. So if you are joining, please make sure you go to the boardroom, and the board meeting is also there.
All right.
Correct, Liz? Thank you.
Item C, I'm going to step aside. My, full disclosure, a business that my wife works for is on this list, so I don't feel it appropriate that I'm a part of this discussion, so I'm going to step aside. And Commissioner Kruger, it's all yours.
All right.
I'll read the item.
Okay, Sheila, it's Corona Relief Fund.
Yep, item C, consider approval of Coronavirus Relief Fund Committee recommendation for disbursement of funds up to the amounts recommended in the agenda upon receipt of documentation of qualifying expenses within program guidelines. If the qualifying expenses are less than the approved amount, the lesser amount will be distributed upon approval. The total disbursement amount recommended by the CRF committee for this round of disbursements is up to $848,531.33. Business and nonprofit organizations shown are being recommended for approval up to the grant amount shown for McLeod County and participating townships or cities. Upon our board's approval for those receiving McLeod County grant funds, those business and nonprofit organizations shown will receive a payment of up to 50% of the approved amount. A second McLeod County funds distribution will occur in November 2020. At that time, the approved grant recipients will receive up to the remaining 50% of their approved McLeod County grant amount, and that's dependent upon the calculation of the remaining funds available and qualified expenses. Recipients of township or city funds that are shown will receive 100% payment upon approval by their township or city, first approved by the McLeod County Board due to fiscal responsibility of funds. Education partners K through 12 who are approved for receipt of allocated McLeod County grant funds shown will receive 100% payment upon approval of the recommendation to the McLeod County Board. Community partners who are approved for receipt of allocated McLeod County grant funds shown will receive 100% payment upon approval of the recommendation of the McLeod County Board. If you see a cross mark by your item, additional verification of documented expenses must be completed prior to distribution of funds. I would also like to note that we are only accepting applications right now that are fully supported by the documentation needed to approve those, because we were receiving so many that did not include the documentation required. So that's a change that was included on the website prior to this round that you are seeing. So they're a little, you'll see an increase because they're a little bit easier to go through with that. And I'm sorry to have to read that every single meeting, but I know that some people don't watch every meeting, so that's why we like to go over that detail each time. And we're almost done. Thank you.
Okay, board members, I'd be looking for a motion to accept this round at $848,531.33, providing the proper receipts are given.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Polmeyer. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Szymanski. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to the end of the meeting. Open forum. Anybody wishing to address the board? Press relations? All right, I'll look for a motion for a recess till November 3rd, 2020 at 9 a.m. at the McLeod County Courthouse. And I emphasize the courthouse boardroom because it's election day. So I would entertain a motion to recess.
Move to recess, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Szymanski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Polmeyer. Meeting's recessed.